Hello, everyone, and welcome to Self Care TV, where we have discussions and you can join the discussion about prioritizing and optimizing self care. It's all about self care. Today,
Mhm.
we have a special guest. Our special guest is on a mission to educate, bring peace and improvement to others based on her personal experiences with multiple autoimmune diseases. She advocates for awareness of judgment, stress, and anxiety over invisible diseases and disabilities. Isolation due to COVID has been difficult for Jenny and many others who thrive on authentic human interaction. She has been inspired and is in the process of creating her podcast for everyday people titled Podcast Not Podcast on how others deal with day to day living with a focus on education on the possible benefits of CBD. She is the founder and owner of Jenny's Gold Standard. What an amazing name. Without further ado, I give you Jenny Gold. Welcome, Jenny.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here today. And hey, Tim, thanks for saying that we're both amazing. Right? So I just wanted to thank you again for having me on today. And I do feel that my mission right now is pretty important with what we're going through right now as an entire society around the world. I do have multiple autoimmune diseases, and originally I was diagnosed with Lyme disease. And from there, I've been contracting different autoimmune diseases. And I just like to share with everyone what I'm doing right now.
That's wonderful. And it's really fascinating because you don't just have one autoimmune disease, you have a combination. So you've got your body is taking a hit from many sides. So
Yes.
I want to ask you about this. How are you managing in terms of self care?
Well, originally what happened, when I was diagnosed finally, they put me on antibiotics, and I took antibiotics for years, for Lyme, for the co-infections of Babesia and Bartonella and ehrlichiosis. And then after a certain period of time, my body was not responding as well, and I didn't want to take them anymore. So I went down the holistic route and the Chinese medicine route, and I used acupuncture for 3 months, about every other day, and got rid of drop foot, got rid of all these other illnesses that I was, like, I guess, suffering from. And my Western doctors were saying, if you're not walking in 3 months, that's it, you're going back on the antibiotics. And I said, I will be walking, and I was. So it was very exciting. So my whole thing is, I think you have to be in the right mindset, and you need to know exactly what you're doing. I will never tell anyone, because I'm not a doctor or a nurse, not to take your prescription medications or anything like that. So it's very important to, if you go on the holistic side, integrative medicine side, to make sure that you're paying attention to, or not even, well, paying attention to what your Western doctors are saying, but also let them know what you want to be doing, and make sure that that's going to coincide with your diagnosis, if that makes
Right.
sense.
But considering you have multiple diagnoses, I mean, how do you balance these? Because I'm sure, in terms of the treatment, in terms of the approach and
Mhm.
managing the symptoms, you probably have moments where you would try something and it works maybe for a short time or doesn't work at all, or maybe creates
Mhm.
another issue for you. Are you running
Right.
into those problems at all?
I have run into those issues, actually. Thank you for asking, because, um, you try something, you try a new supplement because somebody said it was better, or somebody says to me, "Hey, my CBD product's better than that CBD product. Try mine." And I'm like, "Okay," and I try it. It works for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and all of a sudden it stops working. And then I would switch over to something else. And sometimes people say to me, "Why don't you switch? Why don't you stay with something a little bit longer?" And actually, when COVID struck last year, that's when I started listening to a lot of Zoom presentations, and a lot of StreamYard presentations from a lot of autoimmune disease specialists and Lyme specialists who are telling us exactly what to do and what to take. So I've been doing exactly what they've been telling me to do for over a year now. And it's working for me. I can't say that that would work for everybody else. There are things that are just over the counter, but the things that I'm taking aren't just over the counter. They're more holistic and I make sure they're organic, they're non-GMO. And if need be, like with the CBD products, I make sure that they're made in a CMPG kitchen. I think that's the correct way to say that. Just to make sure everything's clean and everything's pure for me, for my body. Because every time I introduce something that's artificial, it doesn't go so well.
Uh-huh.
So diet is very important too, which we've discussed.
That is good. It's good to know that you're so aware and you're working with your healthcare special, your holistic specialist, right, to make sure that they meet the needs that you have. A lot of people have um, diagnoses, and unfortunately, they find themselves in gaps where their needs are not being met. So I think this is really important for them to hear this, that in fact, when you have these autoimmune conditions, or even if you suspect you have an autoimmune or you have some kind of condition, you don't know what it is, and you've tried conventional medicine, it's also good to find other types of practitioners, because we're becoming more integrative in our approach, right? We've got conventional medicine, but we know not everybody's benefited from that, or that it's more systemic. So when you take something that's conventional, you are paying for it in so many different ways. Your body's responding in so many ways, whereby if perhaps you would find someone who's into more holistic approach with medicines, and maybe more herbal medicines, more homeopathic solutions, they might find something that works there with less of a systemic impact.
Right. And even integrative health doctors. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought you were trying to say integrative health amongst the holistic doctors, because they're very important too. Some of them actually can prescribe Western medicines if you need them, and other ones can't because they don't have that certification for that. But they know a lot about the Western side too. Even chiropractors. I have Medicare because I'm that old. No, I'm not that old, but I'm that sick. That's why I have that. And I'm seeing a chiropractor and his entire group of people that he's working with, and they do take Medicare for certain conditions. And for my drop foot right now, they're actually seeing me for that. And I am getting a Medicare approved diagnosis. Well, is Medicare approved diagnosis, but also a treatment that's approved by Medicare. So it's not like I've gone completely integrative or holistic.
Okay.
But they also know everything that I'm taking. And
they're also resourceful, and you know where to find these things if you need them. And I think it's so important because we're in Canada, and it's becoming more popular, integrative medicine, but you typically won't find your your MD saying, hey, let's try something else. And it may not even be another form of medication or something that you actually ingest, but something like as simple as mindfulness therapy, something that helps you to relax and deal with anxieties or different issues. So really a more integrative approach. But I think it's wonderful to seek out that holistic approach. You've done well with that. I mean, you're here and you look fantastic.
Well, thank you.
And I thank you. Thank you for coming on. So I want to ask you, I know you do a number of things, but also you do the review for CBD.
I do. Well, I actually I vetted, and all the companies that I'm representing right now, there's about 6 or 7 of them, and their products too. Now the big joke right now, because some of you know who I am, I did take cat oil by accident before I went live like this. And so now I'm known.
Not today.
For taking the cat oil, but I did not take the cat oil today. It's very fishy tasting and it's very thick. I'm sure cats will love it. But it's not
you sound okay. You sound human still.
I know, right? Because sometimes I'm just kidding. Yeah, I am sometimes. That's my caregiver. But the other thing is, I did try a dog treat. I will say that right when COVID started, because we're like, well, if we can't get food and we can't get toilet paper, well, what are we gonna do? Turn into a dog so we don't have to use toilet paper? I'm totally kidding. You can't use a dog treats as toilet paper. But it was kind of funny. They don't really taste that bad, and they're okay if you by accident eat one. But I wouldn't recommend that either. So, but anyway, CBD oil for humans is just for humans. It should not be used on cats or dogs, and vice versa. Do not use the cat or dog oil,
Right.
like, because it's not the same for the humans either. But that's kind of my joke. So, but yeah, I do vet all the companies and their products. Sorry. You know what? It's not cold here anymore, people. It's 75 degrees here. But you know, last week it was really cold. So I'm kind of getting a runny nose. Not even a runny nose, but something. So I only work with companies that I know have clean COAs, clean products, clean farms that they're working with, that are certified organic and have been certified organic for a while, not just like last week. Because CBD, as you guys know, it's very easy to find, like at a grocery store or a pharmacy or a gas station. The gas station ones, a lot of them are from China, so please be careful, including the vapes. And vapes, I don't know if this is going on in Canada, but our US mail will no longer send vapes in the mail.
Not in Canada. Canada is still very strict on where you can buy your CBD, and actually there are just a couple of places you can go to get, your medicinal CBD or any other cannabinoid, and for recreational as well. So it's very controlled here at the moment.
So do you have to have a pharmacy, or do you have to have, a prescription from your doctor?
So it's an order. It's called an order. Your doctor will give you an order. Unfortunately, it's very costly here. Doctors are making a killing off of it. And once you have that, it gives you the opportunity to either purchase from, from the companies that are approved to sell medicinal cannabis, or you would have to, you can grow. So that order would allow you to grow, I think, for actually more plants. Now, in Ontario, if you're 18 and over, you can grow 4 plants without an order. But if you need more cannabis, more CBD for controlling your symptoms, then you'd have to get an order, which allows you to grow maybe 10, 12, 50, 100 plants. All depends.
That's really interesting, Abby, because what's happening with us is that in Colorado, and don't quote me on this because actually we've been in lockdown too long. I think I'm forgetting things. I think you can have 10 plants, not 10 plants. I'm sorry, 6 plants. But if you have more than that, then you have to get a something that's written by your doctor. You get like 100 or something like that, or even 50. I don't know how many now in Colorado it's legal to grow, but meaning you have to get the prescription. I know when it got up to 100, 125, people were kind of, a lot of the dispensaries, a lot of the growers were kind of backing away from that. So,
and it's an actual prescription.
I'm sorry?
It's an actual prescription. Like, it looks like a regular prescription. It's not an order. For us, our order and our prescriptions are very different.
Okay. Because I was going to say, if you get your medical, you have to have your medical card, number one, and then the medical card, they can write how many plants you can get. I believe it's up to 6.
Okay.
It could be 5. Sorry, everybody in Colorado. I just don't remember. It's the Lyme brain / the COVID brain. I did not have COVID. I'm just saying, though. I think since we've been so locked down, we haven't been able to go to these big events anymore. We're not remembering everything that we were hearing every day before.
Hey, it's happening to you. It's happening to me too. I think a lot of us are experiencing this sort of lag in our memory. But we're here, and
yes,
we hope that things will return to some kind of a stable state where we can get out and resume our lives. So I wanted to talk to you about this briefly, because I know myself and I know others who have had conditions, some people chronic conditions, some even acute conditions, and they have used CBD and have had amazing results. And I mean, people who've had issues with their knees, their backs, their teeth, like things like toothache even. So when I say acute, and they have had really great results. And so I know with you and you have different autoimmune conditions,
Mhm.
and your results seem to be varied. But have you found something that gives you a more general or more something that is perhaps giving you greater relief than others?
Well, I typically don't have pain. Now, a lot of Lyme patients have extreme pain
Right.
with their joints and their muscles and their bones, like, because there are a couple different kinds that people tend to get. And the two, though, that I know the best would be actually more joint issues or neurological. Mine's completely neurological. But I will say about a month and a half ago, I don't know what happened, but I got really bad bone pain and muscle pain, and I used some CBD roll-on stuff that actually has arnica in it, and it went away. But I'm having other issues that don't have to do with the Lyme right now. Have to do with injury to my back. When I was in a what do you call it? It's kind of funny because people are like, "You in a rehab place?" I'm like, I was not in a rehab place for anything, but I was in a rehab place for physical therapy for about 17 days last year around this time, the end of April, beginning of May. And what happened was, we were watching that. What happened was I I had a back injury that was re-injured when they were getting me in bed one night. And I was like, they were trying to get me in too fast. I'm like, can't do it that way. And that's how I re-injured my back. So you go in to learn how to walk again, because I actually wasn't able to walk because I couldn't go to that doctor because they weren't considered essential and by our governor. And so thank you, governor, because that became a very expensive bill for Medicare, like $40,000,
Wow.
$35,000, because I wasn't allowed to see the doctors that I needed to see that I was already seeing. So it's kind of like it's the COVID thing. It it goes further. It goes
Mhm.
further than just I guess than just wanting to do something and not being able to do something and needing to see a doctor and not being allowed to see a doctor.
Right.
So
And those are the things we aren't really thinking about, those of us who
right,
don't really need to see a doctor that frequently or have
right,
a
right,
condition that demands the attention from a doctor more
mhm,
often or
right,
specialized attention. So yeah, it's good to hear this. As much
mhm,
as I feel bad that that's what you have to go through.
right, yeah.
So I want to know in terms of the work you do, you I know I mentioned I asked you before, but
Mhm.
you would review and try these CBD products?
Right. So on my website, Jenny's Gold, jennysgold.com is JENNYSGOLD.com. I have reviews of products on there
Hmm.
from the different companies. What we've done is we reviewed 3 different tinctures, 3 different salves, 3 different gummies, things like that. So people can get an idea of what I'm carrying. But you can also get discounts and you can go when you see a gummy that you're interested in because it's vegan, for example, or there's another one that is sugar free. And people think sugar free, oh my gosh, it must be that fake sugar that's not good for you. And it's not, it's made with monk fruit. So when people are interested in those things, they can go to that website and get a discount because of what I'm doing right now. It's because they're products that I believe in.
Right. And like you said, um, you're aligning yourself with products that are following the standard, that are prepared
Right.
in the yeah, based on regulations, prepared in those facilities that are following
Right.
regulations and whatnot. So great. Okay. And so if someone wants to reach out to you, talk more about what it is you do, where would you have them contact you?
Well, I have Facebook, a LinkedIn, an Instagram, and a YouTube page now.
Oh, a
Yay.
YouTube page.
I know.
Wonderful.
Because what I'm doing is I'm interviewing people like yourself or other people that have autoimmune diseases, and having them tell their stories. I'm talking to integrative doctors, homeopathic people. There are homeopaths who also do meditation, exercise, because every single autoimmune disease has a different issue. So we've got some that need help with with an exercise program. But that person who has diabetes 1 or 2, because that is an autoimmune disease, people usually don't know that. Or if somebody has angular spondylitis, like my father had, he has a completely different exercise program. Or if you have a different kind of arthritis or Lyme disease or MS, they're all different protocols. Right. And so I'm bringing on different types of people to talk about this, and then also dietitians, things like that, so they can learn more and not have to go pay for a doctor necessarily to tell them this. Right. So anyway, hence my having the companies that I'm repping right now, they come on every so often and talk about their new products or other products that we haven't discussed yet.
Oh, that's great.
So you can hear more about that. So if you go to Facebook, back to that. If you go to Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, or YouTube, you'll see those interviews. You guys can watch them on there. So
what's the handle?
For Facebook, Instagram, those two, I think it's Facebook and Instagram, are at Jenny's Gold Standard. So it's JENNYS GOLD Standard. So you guys can find it that way. Or if you go to YouTube, it will just be Jenny's Gold Standard without the @ sign. So if you also want to get in touch with me, you can contact me at jennysgoldstandard@gmail.com.
Awesome. And so before we go, Jenny, is there anything you'd like to say to people out there who are probably going through what you're going through or something similar in terms of multiple autoimmune challenges, or anything you'd like to tell them in terms of self-care?
I know that it can be really difficult, and I know that a lot of people are in pain for different things, as my voice cracks because I'm like losing my voice right now. But I know that it's difficult, and I've lived it. I had to drop out of school for a year, so I get it. Like, I had to drop out of college, but I went back and I was a 4.0 student. Who knew? So I would definitely reach out to people. If you guys have support groups within your illnesses, they can be a great resource for I can't even talk, resource for you too. And but I'm more than happy to direct you to people who may be able to help you also. Meditation and breathing is very important right now. And if you can get out in the sun, regardless of what you believe about the sun and COVID and everything else, get out in the sun, because Tim was down there saying a whole bunch of messages to us. He walks every day by the river, and I'll tell you guys, that is a big thing, because to be by the water, I think, is very important. If you have mountains too, kind of blends the yin and the yang. If you have water and mountains, that's important too.
That's true. And there's so many benefits, because one of the things too with getting up and getting out, we know being locked down, for example, and I've been through this, you can get to a point where you feel very sad, or even start entering depression. If you're not careful, if you're not mindful, you can easily slip into depression. And so by just getting out, just taking that step can change the way you think. And that walk, you never know what will happen in that walk that will help to open up your mind and lift, like really it boosts those endorphins and have you feeling really great. So I think go out there, not to mention if you're in the sun, you're getting your vitamin D, right?
Right.
So you really want that. Makes a big difference, in terms of some autoimmune diseases and fighting. And I heard fighting COVID. So let's get out there, let's get some fresh air. And as you said, Tim, we're talking about Tim Sohn. If Jenny mentioned Tim Sohn is actually we are students from his class, Survive and Rise with live video, and that is where we've met. I have met Tim Sohn on Brian Shulman's show, and have joined his class on Survive and Rise with live video.
That's how we met.
That has helped me to launch this TV show here, Self Care TV. So I want to give a shout out to Tim Sohn and his wonderful program. It's really great. Jenny and I met on Tim Sohn's in his program, didn't we, Jenny?
We did. We did.
Yes, and I want to honor Tim by doing a little bit of a finger dance, because this is what he does, guys. This is a little bit of a funny thing for us, because he does this dance, and that's Tim. That's a Tim.
But we were doing this one the other day. Remember?
Yeah. So
I
Tim,
said,
shout out to
thank you.
you on the self-care TV show.
I
And
told him we were doing aerobics with our fingers the other day.
all sorts of little things there. It's so much fun. So any of you who are interested in getting
Mhm.
comfortable with live video or thinking of launching your own TV show,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
encourage you. I recommend it. Go see Tim Sohn, Survive and Rise with live video, and
Yeah.
you can. Now he does have a media a media company, and I don't have the link for that, but
The
if you're
Tim and Jen.
interested, guys, I have there where you can ask questions or send comments to guest at
Mhm.
selfcaretv.live, and I can follow up with you and provide that link to
Mhm.
Tim and to
Yeah.
this and answer any questions you have about this live self-care TV show. So I want to thank Jenny Gold of Jenny Gold Standard for coming on the
Thank
Self
you.
Care TV show. Jenny, it's been a
Thank you.
privilege. It's been a real pleasure
Thank
to
you.
have you. Thank you for the great advice. And it's, we go through struggles, but out of those struggles, some of us take what we have. Like they say, take lemons and make lemonade. And I think you're doing a wonderful
Mhm.
job at that. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. It's been a
Thank you.
pleasure.
Have a great day.
Okay, thank you
Bye.
guys. And we shall see you next Sunday at
Everybody,
5 o'clock.
everybody, waving at the feed over there. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.